So the first commandment is that we should not reinvent the wheel, right? So we are tech people working within a hospital, right? So we interact with clinical teams. So when we talk to the clinical teams, we give them the impression that we really want to go all in, like build something really cutting edge. But what the clinicians are really looking at is solutions that they could quickly see, start using, give their feedback. So the goal is to kind of use proven solutions, simple ones. Most cloud providers have some healthcare infrastructure that we could quickly set up and start using, and then focus our innovation energy really on problems that you think you could solve. And the second commandment is not to boil the ocean, right? So don't go for the really hard, really complex problems at the start. The idea is to kind of pick problems that you could, quickly solve, pilot them, measure, if they're actually adding value, prove their success to stakeholders, and then scale them and move on to the next thing. And I think the most important thing is being able to measure, how well we're doing. The feedback has to come from users. That doesn't happen all the time. And I have the director who sort of handles IT here, Mr. Dheeraj Torukanti. So he has a framework in mind, right? So the framework that we follow is we have an x-axis and a y-axis. There is technical feasibility on one side, and there is clinical relevance on the other side. So there are a lot of technically feasible but clinically relevant solutions. So we don't want to waste our time building those solutions. So we should kind of hit the sweet spot of working on solutions that are technically feasible and also clinically relevant, right? So that feedback will come from the clinical teams. So this is my favorite because most often what happens is people talk about the big complex problems, right? So how do you use AI to replace radiologists? So that's a big problem, right? And that's not going to happen anytime soon. So, but nobody talks about administrative automation, right? Hospitals are large complex systems. You have a lot of paperwork, you have a lot of billing that is happening. You have people typing up discharge summaries. You have a lot of documentation that happens at each stage in the care delivery process. How do you reduce the time it takes for doctors to do documentation? Because I've not met a single doctor who likes to do documentation, right? In fact, they hate it. But nobody is using AI, which can really eminently solve some of these documentation problems, and give them back some time, right? So that is the most important thing, in my opinion. And one interesting thing that we've seen is this delivers the fastest ROI. So if you're looking for some AI investments to make in healthcare, forget about radiology, cancer, they're all very important problems. But if you're looking for fastest ROI, start with the administrative area first. It will help you kind of generate some quick wins that you could kind of then build a case and then invest in bigger things. All right, so data foundation, right? So this is again something that is not very glamorous among the tech teams that I work with. If you ask somebody to work on creating like a good data foundation and somebody else will come in and then do the models and then do the insights and build applications on top of that, people don't like it, right? So most people would want to work on the front end, on the cutting edge, implementing the state-of-the-art models, doing insights and all of that. But the important thing is, all AI is as good as the data that sort of supports it, right? So it is very important for us to invest in creating a really robust, clean data model with privacy, security being very central, so that, like Sriram was talking about, somebody asked you about, I think you asked about the data sets and all. How do we make data sets available to external researchers without worrying about privacy and security? So that sort of a thing, and also for us to benefit from these data sets. And over time, data is your real asset, right? So the actual technology will get reasonably commoditized in, let's say, 3 to 5 years, and data is all you have that is really yours. So the next thing is, have you seen this dichotomy where in places where you either have a tech guy trying to completely lead an AI project in a company, in some places it's the doctor is like a celebrity doctor. He has met an AI company, they've showcased a very fancy solution, so he wants to use it. So that doesn't work, right? Both cases fail. So the tech and the clinical teams really need to work together, and this doesn't happen. This sounds very obvious, but it doesn't happen. And what also happens is, like I said, when you have a very complex system, and if obviously all hospitals have at least 5 to 6 different softwares. So the point is also about when you're integrating, when you're implementing a new AI solution, how does it integrate with the rest of the tech stack? So that conversation doesn't happen today, very well. So the clinical teams, technical teams talking to each other. So that is sort of what helps you succeed in your implementation.